All right, welcome to Sports on the Hump. We are finally here. This week seems like it's taking forever, but we're finally here on a Wednesday night, and we got a special NFL draft special once again. We got two divisions we're gonna pump through today, and once, of course, my special colleague and special is right with him, and it is Schneider, Chris Schneider. Nice. How you been? The heat we're starting to heat up in Pittsburgh a little bit again, so we're actually starting to feel like summer's coming again, even though we're
I
getting
feel very special.
you are a special guy, man. It's very special. We got some big news here in Pittsburgh. We'll go over it real quick. Aaron Rodgers came to Pittsburgh. He's here. Blah blah blah. He's coming to Pittsburgh now. He signed the deal. Um, the offseason still they're still seeing some signings here and there from some veterans. Denver signed the running back yesterday. What's his name from
Dobbins.
yeah, Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins. So teams are you're starting to see the final push on veterans as the camps have started. Well, the veteran camps have started. Not the rule camps yet, but we're getting there, man. And we talked about this last week that as soon as football starts, the camps, it seems like football is right
I
around the
know.
corner, and it's sort of
Yeah,
scary to
that
think
usually
that.
means summer's almost over.
Very true. And speaking of a division that I think is getting closer, and you may disagree with me, but I think it's getting closer to change in its guard. I think right now, I think it's still the red team out in Kansas City, but I think some teams are starting to make a push, and we're going to see it maybe here in the drafts. Plus, I think the off seasons and everything. But we'll start in alphabetical order. We'll start with the Denver Broncos. Made the playoffs last year with the rookie quarterback. Uh, he actually outplayed what I thought he would do last year. How,
Ditto.
how
I didn't think he was that good.
I didn't either, and I think that I think if Denver's one of them teams, man, they're definitely on the cusp of being a playoff team year in and year out. I think. Um, but how do you think they did in the draft?
Overall, I thought they did pretty good. I thought they were solid. I don't know if they broke the wall down getting to KC, but they picked well. I mean, Barron's going to be a nice piece in the secondary. He can play pretty much anywhere, safety, corner, slot, wherever you want him. Harvey looked real good. Now with the Dobbins signing, it's like what's his actual role going to be right now? Because if Dobbins actually puts together a fairly good year, then Harvey's not really as relevant as he could be. And then
I
Bryant and Jones and a couple of them guys finishing it off. Solid guys. I
yeah,
think it was solid.
I like Pat Bryant. I do. They took a punter in the sixth round. He's one of the better punters to come out in a while. They're talking about it.
Yeah.
Big boom rate in that Crenshaw. Bo Nix, with Bo Nix, they're gonna try to add stuff to the offense. I thought the kid, like we talked about, the kid did real tough. It was tough rookie year. I thought he played really well. I thought he led them to some victories that I didn't think that they were capable of, and they seem to be a team that ain't that far away from. I'm not gonna say contending for the division yet because I think there's a couple other teams in this division that we're gonna get to that are pretty tough. I do like the RJ Harvey. I think in this running back class is how big it was. I'm not gonna say he was a stretch, but I would have thought that it's like sort of one of the first guys that wasn't like the household guy
I
that they
agree.
took. But I think he could work out. I like Barron, the defensive back. I think I know. I know you were big on. I think you were big on Savion Jones, weren't you? Or you were one of them LSU guys. You were
I
big
like
on
him.
the line.
I'm not huge on him, but I think he's a nice pick there.
And I think Quay Robinson could be another guy that could be
He's okay.
another
Yeah.
yeah. It could work out. So I think
Yep.
Denver did well. I think Denver. I give them like a B plus. Um, how do you grade them
It's
out?
I think it's pretty amazing when you look at like a guy like Bo Nix, who neither of us thought were that good,
I didn't.
who plays with a coach who knows how to coach an offense,
Yeah,
could make a
and
guy better.
it's amazing how that
And
works.
it's nice to see something like that here and there. But that's what he's known for, learning how to coach up an offense. And he did it last year. And they
I
got
think
some guys. They have that Torrey Franklin coming from last year, who's probably going to play a much bigger role this year.
the
So I
receiver.
think they're going to be good. How good? Their problem is their division is getting tougher, like you said. Because there's two other teams in this division that are going to be very good yet.
Yep.
We haven't even got to.
Nope. And not to cue the fire, I've stoked the fire, I should say that I know I'll stoke it, but ain't it nice to see a coach that is able to change the offense to make it work for the quarterback that he has under center? And
Yes, it is, isn't it?
it is. It really is. I mean, it's going to be. I think that's, and everybody out there knows what we're kidding around about, but it's going to be interesting to see how that works out here in Pittsburgh with a guy that likes to throw and all that. But we go to a team that's, some might say, and I'm on that edge of saying I think they are on the downward spike. But the Kansas City Chiefs, I think the reason I say that, I think Kelsey's pretty much maybe another year, maybe another decent year out of him, but I think he's definitely getting long in the tooth. We've already talked about it. You've made some good points about the Chiefs in the past about they basically hang on by drafting these young defensive players and getting what they can out of them, and that's taking a big risk, because one of these times you're not going to hit on a guy, and they're doing that. But
And they did it again this year. If you look at their draft,
I like the kid from Tennessee a lot. I like the Norman Lott pick.
Norman Lott. I like that
like
Gillette, that edge rusher.
Oh yeah, from Louisville, and I like the kid from
Yeah.
I like the kid from Oregon. I thought was a decent pick for that late in the draft as well. The Bassa.
Late fifth. Yeah.
So do you think the Chiefs? We're going to get to another team in that division still that I think is going to compete, but do you think the Chiefs did enough in this draft and with their players? I mean, and I know you're going to bring it up right now. Who they're going to be bringing back another receiver they only had for a couple games last year that looked amazing, Rashee Rice. They only had him for what, 2 or 3 games before he went down. So, and they still make it.
Their
Mahomes makes
receiver
it work.
with Mahomes at quarterback and the receiving group that they're going to have this year, going to be much different from last year. They're not going to have to rely on Kelsey to carry that team. You look, you're going to have Rashee Rice, you're going to have Worthy, you're going to have Hollywood Brown, you're going to bring that rookie in, Royals. They got a really nice wide receiving group coming in there right now.
Yeah,
if their O-line can stay fairly healthy with the addition of Simmons from the first round pick, that's going to make them offensively really dangerous again.
That's right. We didn't
because still Mahomes is one of the top 2 or 3 guys in the league.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Jalen Royals. That's another excellent pick for the mid draft. I mean, he's a guy that, I mean, there was a couple experts there at the beginning of the year that thought he could have been a 2nd or 3rd round pick, and he went in the 4th. I do. Now that I look at it, I even like their last pick, the kid from SMU. I watched him.
I think that's sort of a key. Yeah, I think that's a key for him.
He could be that guy.
A speed back.
Yeah, that guy. You just get him out in the slot, not in the open, man. That could be. Chiefs could be dangerous.
Give them dump off passes and let them run.
I give them a little bit lower than Denver. I give them a B. I give Denver like a B plus. I give the Chiefs a B. What do you give them?
I give them a little higher because I like Simmons really a lot in that first round pick. So they get at least a B plus out on me, minimum.
And we're probably
I think Simmons is the starting number 1 tackle for the next 10 years.
Yeah, from Ohio State. I mean, he's another mammoth tackle from Ohio State. And
if he wouldn't have got injured, he would have went higher.
And everybody, don't forget www.sportsbible.com for all your draft needs, some good articles on there right now. I know we had a couple Aaron Rodgers articles get spit out these last couple of days, which that's expected.
Big surprise.
And the funny thing is, I had 2 writers within 10 hours come up with the same title, which was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I mean, it's easy. It's right there. It's an easy headline to use, and it was used. But get on www.sportsbible.com. There's a store with clothing. We got a book coming out. In fact, we do this book. We've done this book every year. We didn't do it the last couple of years because I wasn't back with Sports Bible. But here we go. It's basically the college football notebook. For all you people out there that know what it is, I'm going to explain to people that don't. it'll basically be a book that will show um our preseason top 25, our preseason first and second team All Americans. Um, I'm actually going to add another thing. Where I'm going to do our preseason top 50 NFL draft players, and then we're going to go down. And what it is basically a notebook. It'll have each player's height, weight, their class they're in, and then a little spot for you to write when you're watching the game if you want to become part of the draft guide at the end of the year when we do our 2025 NFL 2026 it is actually 2026 NFL draft guide. You can add your notes into the book and get published with us. So that'll be coming out here soon. As we type in all the players and all the stuff, we come up with our top 25, which Sports 5 was known. We've done it for every year we've been here. We have our own top 25. So uh, you can agree or disagree each week when we make our picks. But one of the things I've always liked to do there. So we did 2 out of the 4 teams. This next team, I thought drafted excellent. Like I think they may have been one of my few A's I give. But let's not joke. They're probably still in 4th place in the division. But I think this draft and I think their free agent pickup of Geno Smith. I think that they're looking a little bit better than what they were on paper at the end of last year, making this division that much harder. But what do you think about the first? I'm going to say the first 3 picks, or I thought was excellent. Genty, Beck, and Darian Porter. I thought they were 3 really good picks at the top.
The first 2 they're easy. Porter's not a lot of experience, so he's a 1-year starter at corner. So, and that being the Raiders, one of their biggest problems is their cornerbacks stink. And I thought their 2 threes, I thought they reached a little bit with Rodgers and Grant. Not a ton, but I think they're more developmental. I don't think they're year 1 starters. They're guys going to down the road on there. Thornton, I really like at the wide receiver. I think he's going to be a big contributor this year. And then what was the other guy? Hemingway and Pegways, whatever that guy's name is. At least rotational linemen this year. Not going to be starters, but they're going to get rotational value. And I like them a lot. I think he may be their starting slot receiver as the season goes on. So I thought they did pretty well for themselves. It really comes down to how good Geno is. But still, I thought they did a nice job. They filled some holes, picked some good players. That's all you can ask for.
I mean, it's hard to see any team in this division really crap in the bed record-wise. I mean, honestly, if Genty gets going and they get that offense
I don't
moving,
see it either.
I can't see any team really. I can't see a team under 7 wins in this division off the bat. I mean, I know it will happen.
Well,
I think we'll have a team
that could happen, but
definitely. But I mean, this is one of the better divisions in football. It sort of shockingly came up. And I know, with the Raiders, I mean, do you feel that Geno Smith is he going to be good for 2-3 years? I mean, he's getting up there, man. That's the problem with
I don't know. I don't think he's that good in the first place.
I don't either.
He's okay.
I think he's
But with a strong, if you have a good running back with Giante and a couple receivers who can make some plays for you, they could push 500. I don't think they're going to be any better, but you never know for sure. I mean, the way this league goes anymore, a couple good breaks, you can be a 17 games, 10-7 team really easily now. It doesn't take a lot.
What's your Jonte's Jonte? What's your over under on him? What do you think he hits? What do you expect?
You mean rushing yards?
Yeah,
he'll probably hit close 1,400.
You think
he'll be 1,400? I bet.
You think they'll feed him like in the range?
I think he's going to see the ball a lot.
Like Barkley last year.
Yeah, he's going to see the ball a lot.
They
don't have a ton else, and Geno's not a guy who can carry your offense throwing the ball. So you're going to have to keep him. Plus, they got the 2 tight ends, with Bowers and the kid from Notre Dame, Meyer. They have a nice, they got a good lineup. Not a great one, but a good one. So they're going to be decent.
I agree. I mean, you're just looking at this now. I think this division is the best, and it's definitely up there with the best of football. I think we used to say AFC North, but I could see this one giving it a run for
Oh
the
yeah,
money.
they rotate. Yeah.
Definitely. This last team now, and you said this the day that they hired this coach. You're a Harbaugh guy, Jim Harbaugh
I
guy.
am. I think he's good.
I
I
agree
like what
with
he did
you.
again this year. I
How do
don't
you
see
rank?
any problems with this draft.
First off, I do grade the Raiders. I give them an A-. I like what they've done. What do you give the Raiders?
B plus. B
And
plus.
and as we go to the Chargers, who man, they're going to be a scary team to play because they're going to play hard. They're going to play the Jim Harbaugh style, and
Yep.
I I think they had a good draft, but I would honestly say out of the four teams in this division, they had the weakest of it. Not that's a weak draft. But I think it's a B- C plus. But I do like I like the Trey Harris pick in a second. I think he's an underrated receiver. I think Hampton could be big in the first round. I think Hampton's one of them guys that might 10 years from now you might look back and be like, man, everybody talked about Gente, and this was the guy that was the star in the draft running back was. I thought they reached a little bit though on a couple picks after that. I don't think Gadsden's as good as people think he is at a tight end. I think
Nah,
it's a
no. I'm not going to argue that one at all.
I think Branson
But they did
Taylor, I
add
was
some
shocked he even
speed at
got
wideout.
drafted. They did.
They added some speed at wideout
They
with
did.
Trey Harris and Lambert Smith, so that helps them right off the bat. They needed something else to complement McConkey,
Hmm.
so they got that now. And plus the guys they did have already.
Yeah, I
Hampton,
think
I
that
think, is going to be good.
yeah, I think Hampton could be the if Hampton blows up and looks like it becomes the best running back in this draft. It's a great draft. I mean, um, they took him, and you heard the rumors. I mean, he was a second round pick, and as we got closer to the draft, people were like, "Oh man, Pittsburgh might take him, or this team might take him." So they took him pretty much right
Kept
where
moving up.
people expected him. Yep, everybody expected him. I give them like a C, like a C. But if Hampton if he tears it up like he possibly could, especially the way Harbaugh knows how to build offensive lines and knows how to build a run game. I mean, that's his forte. He's
Well,
sort of
that
like
too, and they had a small draft class. They only had 6 picks,
yeah.
and
But
that Caldwell, their first pick, that third round pick, a huge run stuffer, but that's all he is.
yeah, he's like
I
almost
thought
like
he was a little early in there, but that's what they wanted. They got him.
for all you Pittsburgh fans, imagine Casey Hampton without the speed. And I'm not saying Hampton was fast, but Hampton could move.
Yeah.
And this guy really can't move. We go on to a division that got better last year, Snyder. A team sort of popped its way out of nowhere. With a rookie quarterback that had one of the best rookie seasons we've seen in a long time. But we start with a team that took a step backwards. Cowboy fans, of course, will tell you every year they're going to go 12-5 and they're the best team in the world. And then as the games start playing,
Well,
they're
they did.
basically
They
like
were 12-5 for what, 3 years in a row.
yeah, they were. They just couldn't win a playoff game. But they did get George Pickens
Oh,
in the offseason. They got Pickens and Lamb. So I mean, if you can't work with that as receivers, and what do you think of what Dallas did at the draft? I thought that they did. I thought that
I
they
thought they did
drafted.
very well.
I thought they got at least a B plus out of me. They did. They did. They got some. They got some talent everywhere, especially the offensive line. Which it's hard to say this because Dallas has always been so great on the offensive line, but this is one of their weaknesses now. And I thought that they rebounded nice with Booker and with the pick in the pick in the 6th round with Cornelius.
6th round on Cornelius. Hey, Booker's a day one starter. He's going to be in there for the next 10 years. What their big one to me was that 3rd round pick. I thought was one of the biggest steals. That Revo,
Yeah.
that corner out of East Carolina. For him to be there in the 3rd round for the Dallas Cowboys is ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought he would go like early second, like top 10 picks in the 2nd round, honestly.
Yeah, he's too good for that. That Blue, he's a nice complimentary back. He has the speed, he can catch. Something that Dallas didn't have last year was a nice speed back out of the backfield. Now they got one. And like you said, and there's one guy in this whole list you're hearing a lot about. over the last week or so is a round 7 guy out of
Phil Maffer.
UCLA.
Oh, the UCLA
No,
guy.
Jay Toya. He's supposedly
Big.
pushing that Mazzie Smith real hard for that starting job. Now, I know it's only, these mini camps, but they're really, really impressed with this Toya early on right now.
And didn't Revel he suffered an injury too last year.
Oh, yeah,
So
his senior or his previous year, yeah, he only played like 1 or 2 games and blew out an ACL or something.
so
Knee
they might
injury.
so you're right
MCL.
about saying that. They might have gotten a first round talent in the third round just based on his
Oh, yeah, they did.
based on
He
the
would have
injury.
been a very high first-round draft pick based on his previous year 2 years ago. He would have been there.
How do you like Izaraku, the second round pick out of BC? I'm hearing some good. I mean, I heard some good things about him going into the draft. The guy,
I like him. He's just one of them smaller edge rushers with a team. Having Parsons on your team helps right off the bat.
Oh,
because he's going to draw all of the double teams, so it's going to open things up for a guy like that.
Parsons is he's a sick individual, man.
But it also, if Dallas has some guys coming back from injury, how good are they going to be? How healthy are they? Like that Neeland from last year and some other guys, they're going to be really questionable on, are these guys healthy, or is that, however you say his name, we'll call him Donovan right now, how Donovan does.
Izaraku.
Okay.
What do you give him? I give him a B plus. I think they did well.
I'm giving a strong B plus. I like that. I really like their first couple picks. Really like them.
And
nice job, Dallas.
As we go to the next team, I think Dallas might only finish ahead of this team. This is how good the 2 teams at the end we're going to talk about. But the Giants, I thought the Giants hit it out of the park. I mean, I know you're a Penn State guy, and I mean Abdul Carter was the guy everybody was talking about. Man, they picked him up, and they still got back into the first round, and still was able to get Jackson Dart, Scadaboo, even that Marcus Mbao, the offensive lineman from Purdue. I thought they did really well throughout this draft. Mbao. What do you think about
Mbu, however it goes? I've been sort of following, seeing what they're doing with Carter, just because of the presence of Burns and Thibodeau there, how they planned on using them. And I've already seen things where the Giants are screwing up.
Oh.
They've had Carter, now it's early, so it doesn't mean anything yet, but they've had Carter lining up an inside linebacker and different things like that. It's like, really? You draft this guy to be an inside linebacker because you have them other 2? If you're doing that, they screw it up, and it's already over.
With his pass rushing skills, to have him inside is insane.
Exactly. Now, I understand they were trying to get their best 3 defensive players on the field at once. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to make him the inside guy, that's really not going to work for you. And Jackson Dart's the big question. I like Alexander in the 3rd round and Scadaboo and all them other guys. They're good. I like it. Mm-hmm. Does Dart get a chance this year? Is he going to play early? Is he going to play late? Or not at all? We don't know. Because the coaching staff is playing for their lives.
And let's not forget,
they're not going to be real anxious to play a rookie.
And they got 2 veterans ahead of him, Winston and Russell Wilson. So I mean, that to me that looks like it's even almost impossible for him to get on the field.
Well, it depends. I mean, if they're stinking, they might as well put them in. But the coaching staff's going to be a little hesitant just because they're playing for their jobs.
That's true. What do you give them? I give them a solid B. I think if Carter and Dart hit off like they could, and I agree with you. I think Alexander and Scadaboo are very solid third and fourth round picks. I think they did all right. I think they have they did a good job.
If they don't screw it up, they should. If Dart hits, then they got an A.
It's a weird
because they got Abdul Carter and a starting quarterback. Then they get an A.
Yeah, you got your edge rusher.
That's the big if.
That is a big if.
Because I like Alexander and Scadaboo. They're both going to play. So those are good picks. They did a good job.
This next team, I should say, they are a team
loaded.
loaded, and they are
Loaded.
becoming that team now. How we used to always talk about the Ravens year in and year out, man, they draft good. I think the Eagles are becoming the NFC version, in my mind, of the Baltimore Ravens, where every pick they make, you're like, man, that was a good pick.
Yeah,
And
they're loaded again, and they help themselves even more.
I mean, Jihad Campbell in the first, picking him 31st overall is a steal, that downright
Yep.
steal. Um,
Yeah.
Makumba's another guy that had first round grades most of the year. They get him
And
at
they'll
64.
just move him around everywhere in that secondary. Another guy, safety, slot, outside, can move him around.
Then they go out and grab their Georgia boy. I love the pick of Mondone in the 5th round. I think Mondone is another guy that has a
No,
lot higher. I think it's higher potential to where he was drafted. Even the last
that
guy
problem is
in the
there.
draft,
It's a loaded linebacker room right now. That's the only
oh,
problem with him.
that's a loaded defensive room right now. I mean, that team is
Yeah,
just
it is.
loaded.
But they're all
They
young
got.
guys. Pretty much they're all young guys again.
I think the one guy that could be the steal that people talk about making this draft even good, and you might laugh at this, but if Jalen Hurts goes down and Cal McCord shows that he could be the guy, because I mean, that could be like the guy, like, wow, they got Cal McCord in this draft, and recently you can't really laugh at this anymore because you got the Brock Purdy's, you got these guys now in the late rounds that step up. But I think the Eagles did well. I give them a solid B plus, and I hate that people thinking, oh, everybody's getting good grades, but I was just about to say it's a unique year to me where a lot of teams did really well in the draft this year, like more than normal. I don't see a ton of teams that really did bad, and
I
maybe it's
don't
just
think many really screwed it up. It was a deep draft. There was very few
that's true too.
great picks, but the depth in it was so unreal. And they
Yeah, the
got some
seventh
nice
round.
developmental guys in there with that. They're 2 round 6 picks. Hinton and Williams at tackle. They'll both be starting tackles for them 3 years down the road. It's just how the Eagles do it, and they do it well.
And they got that
And
in
they
the
coach
sixth
their guys
round.
up well. Again,
And their last pick, that Powell Ryland. I mean, there's another kid that ACC. I watch a lot of ACC football.
yeah.
Kid can play, man. That
Nedge Russer, yeah,
yeah, 209th pick. I'll take that any day of the week. And I
yeah.
think you're right with the deep draft, because if you look at all these 6th, 7th round picks, I'm like, damn, these guys were guys that were household names to me that, I'm shocked that they went that late. But like you said, it wasn't great, but it was deep. And sometimes deep is better than great. Tell my wife
Yeah,
that.
it is.
No, I'm just saying. But
Not going
we
there.
go
Not going there.
we go to the last team. This is the team I talked about in my segue to this division. They had a great year last year. Of course, Jaden Daniels just blew it up last year, man. One of the best, probably the best rookie season we've seen in our lifetime, or one of the top 2 or 3 easily. The Commanders. I thought their draft, it was a very small draft for one, but two, I didn't think they didn't really. They were my lowest grade in the division. I gave them a C. Um, Not much to look at. I like the 6th round pick from UCLA could be a pick that is better than what he was drafted at. I'm not huge on Jalen Lane and Virginia Tech. Um, Trey Amos, I think he was like I think that was like at that point with the cornerbacks, you just threw a name at the wall and hope you got the right one. So I don't know if he was really that much better than some of the guys that were still on the wall on the clock. I think Connerly is their guy though. I think that's the guy they need him to work out right away to keep Jaden Daniels upright. But what do you think about Washington's picks?
I actually like their draft pretty well. Other than it being very small, you only got 5 players out of it, which is the worst part. He's not quite there yet, but once again, with someone who can coach him up, he should be in that lineup fairly quick. Amos is good. How good? I don't know. I don't watch quarterbacks play every week. You read what you read, but he's definitely, that was a weakness for the Commanders. Almost said it. It was a weakness for the Commanders, so it was a good pick for him at that point in time. Lane is a Deebo Samuel clone, only a little faster. So I think I don't know how they're going to use him as well. He's more of a developmental for when Deebo leaves next year. And the guy I really like is their 7th round pick, that running back. He's going to play this year. He's going to play a lot. He's better than Brian Robinson, and Eckler's done.
Yeah,
So he's going to
good.
play a lot. He's going to play a lot, and for fantasy guys, draft him. He's going to do you well.
You're saying draft him like high, like a rookie running back high, like that. You think he'll get that
I'm
much
not
playing
first,
time?
second round, not that early, but I'd say when you hit fourth, fifth, sixth round, start taking them.
You're talking in a protected league too, right? You're not talking a clean draft,
right.
not a clean draft from the beginning. Okay, that makes sense.
And how bad your situation is. He's going to touch
true.
the ball a lot.
And by the way, people, Snyder's going to be doing a bunch of these with me. He's already done, and we're going to be doing helping out with the fantasy stuff with Ralph and John as they start their show up, and then also we have a thing
Ralph
coming.
needs all the help he can get.
Yes, he does. And as we have a hey, but he has a new neighbor, man. He's a new neighbor, but we have something coming up too on the Villain Media Network, and here it is right here. Snyder will be on here a bunch of times for the football part of it. You're not really about to help out with the hockey, basketball, or baseball part of it, but for football,
nope, not at all.
Snyder will be on this a lot right here. And that'll be done. That'll be on the Villains Network. We'll be doing that once a week. I'm starting my very first one this Sunday night, Father's Day weekend. I'm gonna blow up the first show. We're gonna do a NHL draft because NHL and NBA are like literally right behind each other. They go boom boom, and then you got baseball later in the summer. So as much as time as I put in the football, you got these 3 drafts that all show their heads in the matter of a month and a half, 2 months. But Snyder will be on there. We'll be talking a bunch of football as we go forward, and look at Sports Bible as well. The website, you'll see our picks of the week. We'll have picks of the week. We'll have our players to watch for the week, draft wise, like players that we think might have a big game. Then we'll talk about on Monday. The article will be the players who had the best week, and we'll talk about. I mean, last year was tough not to pick Genty every week, and I actually had a little special box for Genty because his numbers every week were just ridiculous. You had to put an asterisk next to it to show what he was doing week to week. But Snyder, these were 2 good
Devin
ones.
Neal had a couple monster weeks last year too.
Oh yeah, he was in there a couple times too. I mean, Devin Neal was a guy that he put Kansas on his back a couple weeks, man. Just ran him through, and don't forget the best week of the year. And I'm like just saying this because you're on, but Tyler Warren with his 17 catches for
against USC.
That was one of the best weeks I've ever seen. I was doing that article. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like PlayStation numbers. Like you see a guy on PlayStation, like 17.
Oh no, grin.
I think it was 17 for over 204 touchdowns or 3.
It was
insanity.
Yep.
And it'll be fun to watch him play this year. That's for sure. That's a guy that I'm interested in what he does. But Snyder, next week we've got our last. No, we got 3 left. So next week we're gonna do the no, we got 2 left. We got the NFC North and the NFC West because we did the AFC. We did the South last week.
We didn't do the Central yet, did we? We didn't do the Central yet.
No, the North. We got the North and the West. We got the North and the West left. That's what we got left because we did the South last week. We did the East today. So we got the NFC North with Chicago, Detroit, Green Bay, Mini, and we got the West with Arizona, Rams, and that'll be our last 2.
Yeah, no.
The week after, we will get into starting to talk about these teams. We'll have our top 25 will be out by then, the preseason one, and we'll start talking about these teams. And I'm not going to give you a little bit of a hint, but I'm telling you right now, man, Snyder should be high on his horse because his Penn State team is one of the best teams I've seen on paper right now. Even though I give Clemson's got to get a call too, man. They don't play
overrated.
They don't play nobody.
You didn't hear me say that, but overrated.
Penn State or Clemson?
Penn State.
You're only saying that because of Franklin, not the players.
No. Who's their wide receivers again this year?
They got a couple in the portal, but I couldn't really tell you. They got
Yeah,
that.
well, they did that the last couple of years. None of them did anything.
That Pena is not bad. The kid, I think he played last year a little bit for them, but
Hopefully,
yeah,
because until they find one, they're not going to win anything.
you got to give Aller his guys and let him do his thing. I mean, Penn State's got to open it up. They got two great running backs. I'm not going to get into it now, but
They do that.
If you look at Penn State and Clemson, man, the players are bringing out next year's draft is insanity.
Yeah, they got a lot. Both squads.
I mean, Clemson has a player. Clemson has a top 10 player almost at every position. So we'll see how they work out. But Snyder, thank you. Next week we do the North and the West, and then we are on to the college football scene after that, and we'll help out with Ralph and John's getting their fantasy podcast going, which is coming up. But thank you guys for listening. www.sportsbible.com. Thank you so much.
Later.